Dear Taurus, if these words have found you, it is because a part of your soul has been calling out in the quiet moments. After the work is done and the house is still, when the world is asleep, but the very ground beneath your feet feels like it's about to give way. This is not an ordinary message. Consider it, instead, a resonance, a truth that has traveled through time and space to reach you right now. There is a love that watches over you, an ancient, grounding love that feels as firm and as certain as the earth itself, and it can no longer remain silent. Have you felt it? A sudden, inexplicable wave of anxiety while you're in the safety of your own home. A familiar object that cracks open a memory you thought was long buried, or a feeling of emptiness as you look upon all you've built, wondering why it doesn't feel whole? That is not your imagination playing tricks on you. It is a whisper from the other side of the veil, a place where security is not bound by possessions or form. There is a secret your heart needs to hear, not to reopen old wounds, but to finally alchemize them into strength. Because the weight you've been carrying was never meant to be your identity. It was meant to be your initiation. So, before we journey deeper into this sacred space, I ask you to join me in this ritual. Take a moment to subscribe to this channel, to become a part of a community that chooses to listen to the soul's whispers. Like this video if you feel a stirring within you, and share it with another heart that you know is also searching for a sign. And in the comments below, I want you to simply write, "I am here to listen." By doing so, you are not just typing words. You are declaring to the universe that you are ready to receive the truth that will set you free. Now, breathe. Let's begin. There is a profound misunderstanding that has followed you for most of your life. A shadow that has made you question your very essence. You, dear Taurus, were born with a heart of unwavering loyalty and a soul that knows how to build. It is a heart that understands commitment, that craves stability, that can love with a steadfastness that terrifies those who live only for the thrill of the moment. And because of this, you learned to believe that your stability was a flaw, that your loyalty was a burden, that your desire to build something real was boring. But who taught you this? When did you first learn that to be the rock in a world of shifting sands was to be weak? That ancestral love, the one that watches over you, saw it all. It saw the moments when you were told you were too stubborn, too practical, or too predictable. It saw how you began to question the very foundation of your nature. You started to compromise your own needs, to ask for a little less, to hope for a little less, all in an attempt to be more exciting, more flexible, more like them. But you were never meant to be like them. The secret that this love wishes to reveal today is not about pointing fingers or placing blame. It is about illuminating the patterns that have kept you in a cycle of silent sacrifice. There were energies, yes, that stood between you and your own happiness, but they were not just people, they were archetypes of insecurity. One of them wore the mask of a friend. This was a soul who was drawn to your generosity, who basked in the security you provided, but who, in the shadows of their own heart, took your stability for granted. They couldn't understand how you could give so much, so consistently, when they themselves were always in a state of lack. And so, their friendship always came at a cost to you. They took your support, but rarely offered it in return. They leaned on your strength, but a part of them diminished your efforts. You felt this, didn't you? A subtle imbalance, an unspoken one-way street. that left you feeling drained and devalued, even in their presence. Your mother spirit saw how you blamed yourself, how you tried harder to provide for them, not realizing you were trying to fill a bank that had a hole in the bottom. The other energy was a more insidious one. It was the insecurity planted by someone who was once the center of your world. This wasn't a loud, dramatic betrayal. It was far more subtle. It was the person who saw your consistency and called it boring, who saw your desire to build a secure future and called it confining. These judgments, born from their own fear of commitment, slowly poisoned the well, and the love that once felt so solid began to crumble, leaving you standing in the rubble, asking yourself that devastating question: what did I do wrong? And here is the first part of the sacred truth you must hear today. You did nothing wrong. You simply loved from a soul level of commitment that restless hearts cannot comprehend. Your love was not a fleeting season. It was fertile ground. It was a safe harbor. And for those who have spent their lives accustomed to the storm, such stillness can feel like a cage. It exposes their own fears, their own inadequacies, their own inability to build something that lasts. It is not your fault that they ran from the shelter you built. You cannot blame the solid earth for being too firm for those who only wish to wander. This is a truth I had to learn myself through silence and solitude. I too carry a soul that craves a solid foundation. I once believed that if I could just become a little more spontaneous, a little less predictable, a little less me, I wouldn't face abandonment. I tried to suppress my need for security, to pretend that chaos was exciting. But the deepest pain wasn't when they left. The deepest pain was the slow, quiet realization that in my effort to keep them, I had abandoned my own home. I had traded the vibrant, fertile garden of my soul for a barren, shifting desert. And I refuse to let you make that same trade. That loving, watchful spirit, your Earth Mother spirit, sees the exhaustion in your bones. She sees you contemplating building a fortress around your heart, declaring that it's just safer to rely on no one, to decide that it's better not to invest, not to trust, not to hope. But if you do that, you will be living a life that is a ghost of the one you were meant to have. And what your mother spirit wants you to understand, what I want you to understand, is this: your foundation has been shaken and you are still here. You have walked through earthquakes that would have buried others. You have shouldered burdens that would have crushed less resilient souls. You have survived. But a shattered foundation, dear Taurus, is not the end. It is not a sign of failure. In the sacred traditions, a break is an opportunity to rebuild. It is a clearing of the land, removing the faulty structures you built to please others. And it is only on that cleared ground that you can finally build something true, something for yourself, with a stronger foundation than ever before. A broken heart does not make you weaker, it makes you a wiser architect. You can no longer pretend, and that is where your true life begins. You are living proof of this. You are the embodiment of a soul that knows how to stand firm even after being shaken. Your mother spirit does not look upon you with pity. She looks upon you with a reverence that would bring you to your knees. Gratitude for your resilience, for your endurance, for your unwavering refusal to let the instability of the world uproot the divine strength within you. And now, she says, you no longer have to rebuild alone, because your soul has matured. The pain has been composted into fertile ground. You are now strong enough to hear the deeper truths without letting them shatter you, strong enough to listen without blaming yourself, strong enough to finally finally reclaim your worth. She wants to speak directly about that person, the one whose departure felt like the collapse of your entire world, the one whose restlessness made you question everything you thought was real. She wants you to know with absolute certainty that their departure was not a reflection of your worth, but a reflection of their fear. The security you offered was too real, too sincere, too unconditional. For a heart that has been taught that love is a temporary thrill, a gift so solid is terrifying. They didn't know how to receive it. It is not your job to teach someone how to value a home they are not yet ready to live in. Let that be the second lesson you anchor into your being today. Do not let another's unreadiness define your capacity to build. You are not to anything. You are just right for a soul who is ready to build a home with you, instead of asking you to live in a tent for their comfort. This world is aching for more people like you, not fewer. People who build, who nurture, who love with commitment. Your mother spirit knows. She knows there are mornings you wake up and the insecurity is a physical weight in your chest. She knows there are moments you look at the world's chaos and want to surrender, to just live quietly and not invest in anything anymore. But then she reminds you of who you are. You are the one who finds beauty in a plant slowly growing. You are the one who offers a steady hand to the one who is falling. You are the one who knows how to love with loyalty, not because you are naive, but because you have seen the worst of human inconsistency and still choose to believe in the best of it. That is not weakness. That is divine, radical power. And because of that power, she wants you to learn one more thing. Love is not a reward for changing yourself. It is your birthright. You do not have to earn it. You do not have to prove you are worthy of it. You simply have to be yourself, in all your sturdy, beautiful, profound glory. And the right souls, the ones who are not afraid of your strength, will find you. She does not promise that the old love will return. In truth, that structure has been condemned, and you must allow it to be. But she promises this with all the certainty of the cosmos. The next love will not require you to be less of yourself. The next person will not be intimidated by your need for security. They will not leave you guessing in the dark, trying to decipher their intentions. They will look at your loyalty and see a home, not a cage. They will see your practicality and recognize it as a superpower, not a flaw. And this leads to the next step on your path: forgiveness. Your mother, spirit, whispers that it is time to forgive. But this forgiveness is not for them. It is not about letting them off the hook. You must stop waiting for that. Forgiveness is you finally unclenching your fists and letting go of the hot coal of resentment that has only been burning your own hands. It is you declaring, "Your story in my life is over. I release you, not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace." You are no longer the one who holds on to a structure that is crumbling. You are no longer the one who auditions for security. You are now the one who chooses. And your mother spirit, your ancestral lineage, is more proud of you for this quiet, internal shift than for any external accomplishment. Now, listen closely. A new door is opening, but it will not be a grand, theatrical entrance. Your mother spirit whispers that you must learn to feel for it with your heart, not look for it with your eyes. It will be subtle. A quiet job opportunity that offers more security. A sudden, intuitive urge to start a new, grounding hobby. A book on finance or gardening that falls off a shelf at your feet. She asks you this, and I ask you this. Do you still have the courage to believe in the things you cannot see, but that your heart knows are real? If the answer is yes, then this is the moment to honor your intuition. Do not dismiss those tiny synchronicities. Do not rationalize away the quiet trembling of your heart. You once said yes to everyone else's needs while saying no to your own. You stayed put so others could wander. You smiled when your own foundation was screaming. Your mother spirit honored your choices then. But she speaks up now, because if you continue to abandon yourself, you risk forgetting the way back home. When was the last time you truly chose yourself? Not a meal or an outfit. I mean, you chose a life where you didn't have to constantly perform to be loved. A relationship where you didn't have to apologize for your needs. A friendship where you didn't have to pretend to be strong just so they wouldn't leave. If you cannot remember, then consider this your formal invitation. An invitation from the cosmos, delivered by the love that guards you, saying, "It is time. It is time for you to rise, not to fight, but to build. To build your own sense of worth. To build the goodness you once believed you didn't deserve. To build a life that mirrors the beauty of your own soul. Every time you survive a quake that could have destroyed you, your soul light becomes more brilliant. Every time you choose stability when you could have chosen chaos, you are healing not just yourself, but your entire ancestral line. You did not come here to live a small, safe, predictable life. You came here to awaken. What is truly meant for you through the laws of light, love, and loyalty is now beginning its journey back to you. And this time, it does not come as a challenge. It comes as a gift, a homecoming, a long-deserved peace. And now, for the final piece, the vow, the declaration of your newly remembered self. I want you to place a hand over your heart, close your eyes, if it feels right, and receive these words not just with your mind, but with every cell of your being. Let them land and take root. Repeat them silently or out loud. With me, I am no longer the version of myself that holds on to what does not want to be held. I release the need to prove my worth, to be validated, or to be kept. I am the one who chooses. I forgive myself for the times I believed my stability was a burden. I now claim it as my power. From this day forward, I no longer build my world around another. I am my world. I radiate security, and I welcome, with an open and deserving heart, the love that is brave enough to build with me. My past is a story, not a life sentence. My loyalty is a foundation, not a cage. I am here, I am grounded, and I am ready to grow. This, dear Taurus, is your truth. This is your freedom. If this message has touched a place in your soul that has long been dormant, let that energy flow. Share the one truth you are ready to reclaim in the comments below. Your story could be the very permission another weary soul needs to hear to begin their own journey home. This was never just a video. It was a doorway. And you, with breathtaking courage, have just walked through it. Thank you for being here. Thank you to the love that guides us all. We will meet again, not in another video, but in the silent spaces where souls recognize one another. Always in love.